LBC broadcaster James O'Brien sparked concern amongst listeners after he returned to the airwaves with a huge bandage on his face. LBC Radio favourite James O'Brien sparked concern after he hosted his morning show with his faces covered in bruises. During Wednesday's visit, March 5, to the political radio programme, the 53-year-old welcomed listeners back as he discussed the biggest stories hitting the headlines. This included President Donald Trump's potential rapprochement with Volodymyr Zelensky and China's warning to the US that it is ready to fight any type of war over mounting trade tariffs. But the biggest stories on everyone's lips was US Vice President J.D. Vance's apparent insult to Britain and France in his description of a possible European peacekeeping force in Ukraine. In an interview with Fox News, Vance had seemed to downplay the potential of 20,000 troops from some random country that has not fought a war in 30 or 40 years in monitoring any ceasefire. His comments were widely perceived to be directed towards the UK and France, who have been leading European efforts to secure a peace deal between Russia and Kyiv. Yet later on Tuesday, March 4, Vance claimed it was absurdly dishonest to suggest he had been referring to either of the countries. Now, the dad of two has shared his concerns for Keir Starmer's handling of the tense political developments, admitting there is nothing Keir Starmer can do to influence Trump. He told listeners, "Imagine I handed you a sack full of ferrets and I asked you what you were going to do to persuade the ferrets to behave. Or I asked you what tools you had in your arsenal that would allow you to exert some influence on the ferrets fighting in a sack." That's why Angela Rayner couldn't really answer any questions yesterday, because the British government could lay out a policy position and Donald Trump could defecate all over it. That was a moment of such unutterable obnoxiousness that we haven't actually got the vocabulary properly to chronicle it. We can all spit our dummies out, or we can all spit nails or feathers or whatever it is that you spit. We can all, I think, quite rightly reflect on how this would have gone down with military families, but what the Vance moment brought home to me was the possibility that nothing Keir Starmer does matters in the context of controlling or influencing Trump. Despite his dividing comments, listeners couldn't help but share their concerns for the presenter's well-being after he took to the airwaves with a large bandage on his forehead and noticeably bruises above and below his left eye. At the start of the show, James confessed that he fell off his bike on ice and hit his head on the road in an unexpected accident. It didn't take long before fans flooded to X, formerly known as Twitter, to share their concerns online. One user penned, "Why is O'Brien bruised all over his face?" As another agreed, "Blimey?" As a third quipped, "Drunken fall James?"